Welcome to the Missouri Freedom Initiative. Today is Thursday, March 17, 2022. Hey, happy St. Patrick's Day to all you guys out there. Hey, this is more kind of an update, and it's been a long time since I've done a standalone video, but I did want to update you guys on a few things that's going on here. First off, I'm going to start with this, and I'll make this video as quick as possible because I have to go to work. It's actually quite early in the morning on Thursday. Sun's not even up yet. Let's start with Facebook. You guys, most of you probably know we have a Facebook presence. We have a Facebook group. It's a Missouri Freedom Initiative, as you see on your screen here. However, Facebook is probably the most censored platform you will find online, followed by YouTube. And it's been very, very difficult for us to grow on Facebook because of this. And so I think a lot of you have noticed in the last 2 or 3 months, I've had I'm Timmy Chonga, by the way, on Facebook. Most of you know this. I've had very little presence, even in our own group. And I've had a much larger presence on Twitter and Gitter. And the reason being is because it just doesn't make sense to spend a whole lot of time on Facebook anymore. We can't grow there. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not a lot of good data in there. But if you guys could see what I see, being an admin of the group, we're shut down. Facebook has virtually completely shut us down. It's getting to the point where some of the stuff that's shared in the group is not even, people can't even see it who are in the group. That's how bad Facebook is. So if you wanted to talk about censorship, you want to talk about, publisher, versus platform, we could talk about all these things. But the fact of the matter is, Facebook is an extension, in my opinion, of the federal government. And I don't trust the federal government at all. And I certainly don't trust them to let me have an opinion, especially an informed one. So I wanted to mention to you guys, and I've been intending to do this for a long time and have not had a major presence on here, which is Travis's, the Prepared Home, basically network, which is very similar to Facebook. I will have a link down below in the description section for you guys to be able to join here, but this is not censored. So, you can bring all of your information, your stuff about beer flu, serum, Ukraine, things of that nature you can bring in here. And I'm going to talk more about, that stuff here in just a second. But I think it's really important that we don't waste our time with something like Facebook anymore. In fact, now I am not going to close the group here, but I'm not going to really participate anymore except for posting live streams. That's really all I did in Facebook anyway. And that was just to raise awareness so people could come into our live streams, because those who are not signed up for emails are not getting notifications. Once again, YouTube is another censored platform. We're shadow banned there. Therefore, notifications are coming out generally about, and this is based on what people are telling me, is about 3 hours after the live stream starts is when they get a notification that the live stream has started. So we're already done by the time a notification goes out on average. So Facebook and the email, which you can get on our email list right from our website, but those are the two ways that I was letting people know. Of course, Discord as well. And so Facebook is something I'm not going to participate in as much anymore. In fact, I'm going to give it some time and then ultimately probably end up in the long term deleting the group, because all it is a data collection platform on folks that are posting stuff. That's all it is. We don't even get anything out of it anymore because most people can't even see this anymore. In fact, if you do a search on Facebook for the Missouri Freedom Initiative, it's like we don't even exist. And, so what's the point? Okay, so let me finish up what I was saying here. Travis's group, the Prepared Home, the Prepared Homestead, is something that we are going to move to. I've already been there, and I've not had a massive presence there, but that is going to change here very soon. So once again, there's a link down below to join this system. You set up an account here. There's no data collection, and also there is no censorship. So it's not as refined and pretty as Facebook is, but at the same time, Facebook had billions of dollars to develop their platform. I suspect that that's not the case with Travis. As much as I love Travis, I've never suspected him of being a billionaire. So at any rate, I wanted to let you guys know this is where we're going. I'm sorry, this is where we're taking our Facebook, is over to Travis's network. And then ultimately, probably sometime this summer, I will delete the group on Facebook. And that's just because there's no reason to keep that if they're just collecting data on us and we can't get anything out of it anymore. Okay, so that's first off. Secondly, I wanted to talk a little bit more, just a little bit more, because we covered this in our live stream last week. And we have another live stream coming up on Sunday, and we'll probably cover this just a tad more with a special guest. But this is about Congress passing a tax on Second Amendment sanctuaries. This shouldn't surprise any of you because Congress is attacking the Second Amendment, period. We have talked about this ad nauseum. If you guys have been following me for the last 3.5 years on the Truth, Money, and Freedom podcast, remember now that the Missouri group is relatively new. It just started in June or July of 2021. But before that, we were all together. You know, those of us have been together a long time on the Truth, Money, and Freedom platform. They are coming for guns. It doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. They are coming for guns, whether you believe it or not. And also, too, there's many layers of things happening right now, and that's by design. So the top layer, was the beer flu, and then of course there were other subtle layers, like those were layers. But underneath all these layers was gun control. And so they need big news, and they need people divided and people arguing and debate and all that fun stuff going on while they're actually taking away your rights. This is the way our federal government and the mainstream media works. So, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. But I'm going to link down this video to Guns and Gadgets. And now this is a more dire video that he has put out because I think the gravity of this is finally hitting him. Believe me, in Missouri, the gravity of this was hitting us 5 years ago. So we are way ahead of the curve on this, but this is also why we have SEPA with teeth, and we're the only ones to have it. So Guns and Gadgets, Jared, I appreciate you, man, but really what this is about states' rights. This is not about fighting the federal government because, believe me, that is a losing battle. No one is winning that battle. No one is getting ahead on that battle, and we need to face reality at this point in time. And the reality is, the only way people are going to maintain their rights is through their states and using the 10th Amendment. This is it. And I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but we have really made that a major issue for about 3 years on Truth, Money, and Freedom. And fighting the federal government or, contacting members of the federal government like your representative and your senator in D.C. is just totally a waste of time. And I am really sorry to say that. I know a lot of patriots out there are going to say nonsense. I know a lot of people might be saying too, hey, just wait for Trump to get back in. I'm telling you, you can't wait for this anymore. And I'm also saying that Trump can't fix this. So this is too deeply embedded, and there's too many players, and there's power brokers that people don't even understand that are part of the layering system that I talked about earlier that have to be identified and uprooted, removed, and it's virtually impossible to do this. So another person might call that draining the swamp. Draining the swamp in D.C. is, in fact, I've thought about that for many years. Once again, guys, I have been active politically for literally since I was about 18 years old, and I'm 50 now. So that's how long I've been in this game. And taking care of draining the swamp is something that I don't think can be done at this point. I think it was possible to do in the 80s. And once again, possible. Not likely, but possible. It's impossible to do now. Not without, and there's reasons for it that I don't want to talk about on YouTube. But it has to do with the pedophile networks, because this is the stuff that gets you in trouble on YouTube if you talk about. That's another thing you can't talk about on YouTube, by the way. Okay, let me move along here because I get long-winded. Twitter, we still have a very big presence on Twitter. And so check us out in the link below. If you guys have noticed, I have not been making videos very much lately, and that's for lack of time. but it doesn't take a lot of time for me to throw out a tweet once and again. And the reason I put out these tweets is to help inspire people, to help inform people, and also to let people know about us in Missouri. So we are there, but we are also on Gitter. And Gitter is a great platform and everything. It's a little frustrating on a different level because, never mind. I'm not going to get into that right now. Okay, covering a little tiny bit of, national news, which I really, once again, let's talk about layers, and let's talk about nutrition for a quick second here, because I can make an analogy. Nutrition is a very complex thing, even though many people say it's actually quite simple. It really is complex because you need certain things in your diet in order for your body to function properly and to certainly be healthy. But the primary things that you need in your diet, like protein, very important. Without protein, you're going to get sick relatively quickly. You're going to have a series of very, very serious health conditions if you don't have protein. So in your political life, I want you to think of as dealing with your state as protein in your diet. If you're not dealing with your state, then basically where you live, look at California, look at New York, look how quickly they can fall. So you got to deal with your state. But you also need vitamins and minerals. That's your local government. That's your city and county government. And then think of the federal government as carbs. You need some, but not a lot. And the more of it you have in your diet, the more unhealthy you become. So the federal government itself, and that includes the mainstream media, the more of it you consume, the more of it you look at, the more you get involved in, the more carbs you have in your political diet, and the sicker you become. And so I don't cover a lot of this stuff because it doesn't really matter, but I do want to cover that Zelensky, and I'm not even going to talk about his shirt. I know that's the main thing everyone wants to talk about right now. I want to talk about he is asking for a no-fly zone over the Ukraine. This is something that's quite serious and can easily get out of hand. And there's a lot of intricacies to explaining exactly why that is, but basically the Russians won't acknowledge it. So that's the problem. So this, in a way, and the fact that he's going around and on Zoom, talking to all the governments of the world, begging them for a no-fly zone. This man is single-handedly, now once again, he's controlled, I'm not an idiot. He's controlled, but he is single-handedly asking for a very big acceleration in the events happening in the Ukraine. And so I want you guys to think about that. And I don't know how the world's going to respond, and quite frankly, I don't care. I'm not really paying attention to all this. I'm a state guy, as you guys know. I'm not looking at the international stage other than literally for readiness, preparedness, and a timeline. That's all I really care about on the international stage. And the federal government, I really couldn't care less about. I know that sounds horrible, but nothing can be done there. Nothing good happens on the federal level, so why spend a lot of time on it? Okay. Travis, our good friend Travis with the Prepared Homestead, has put out a really good video, and he is talking about buying food now. We're nearing a tipping point. And actually, I tend to agree with him on this. And so I don't want to make this, the main point of the video, but I do want you guys to watch his video and to listen very carefully to what he's saying about, I talk about dealing with things on the state level. Travis is about personal level, family level, community level. And so we complement each other so well. And I just love the guy, and I'm so grateful that he lets me come and speak at his meetings. But food is every single time I study hyperinflation, and it doesn't matter what country in the world I look at it on, food is a major, major, major issue. That's what people kill for. In Venezuela, for instance, people were killing each other for cans of peaches. I saw a story on that a while back. People going into the zoo and literally taking the animals out of the zoo for food. It always becomes an issue, always, in hyperinflationary scenarios. And whether or not we're going into hyperinflation remains to be seen. We're in big inflation right now. Hyperinflation is a different connotation. There's different mechanics. So can we be going into hyperinflation? Oh, absolutely, we could. And for those of you who think that America is special and is immune, you're wrong. We are not special and we are not immune. We have printed an enormous amount of currency, especially in the last 18 months. And there's currency being printed that we don't even know about. That's the second balance sheet of the Federal Reserve. I've talked about this for 3 years on the Truth, Money, and Freedom podcast YouTube channel. So we don't know, but Catherine Austin Fitts talks about this, and she comes up with totals she thinks is on that second balance sheet. And this is information we are not supposed to know. Okay. And one more thing I want to talk about is data collection. Data collection by the federal government is a primary issue. Social credit scoring is all about collecting every bit of information that can possibly be obtained about all of your citizens. And it's basically so you can control them. There's no other reason to do it. And we're seeing, especially since the beer flu hit, we are seeing data collection happen on a level we've never seen before. But once again, it's one of those underlayers I was talking about earlier. It's stuff that doesn't get coverage. And if it does get coverage, it's portrayed as a good thing. It's helpful. It's for the safety of the people. Nothing can be further from the truth. This is literally how they get enough information to set traps for the people. So I did a video about this a while back. People who were applying for religious exemption in the United States from the beer flu and the vaccine, they are literally in a database now, for the federal government. So we're talking about a database of Christians that understand their constitutional rights. That was a very, very interesting database for them to keep. And I have nothing more to say about that on this particular video, except to let you guys know that is real. That did happen. The newest one is financial surveillance. This makes sense to me because we're going into social credit scoring. That's the end goal here. That's what they want to do. So they're going to get some information in advance, basically so they can see how many people are dabbling in cryptocurrency. And, I'm not going to say a whole lot more about that right now. And by the way, it's not necessary for you guys to comment in this video that you're into crypto. I'm just letting you know that they are looking for people who are into crypto. That's all I'm telling you. That's the purpose of investigating people in quote unquote digital realm with financial surveillance. So I wanted to make you guys aware of this. Okay, last thing, we are doing a live stream on Sunday night. That'll be at 7:30. It's always at 7:30, gang. We were not going to shift from that time. And I intend to get us to 2 live streams because we're starting to get into the Missouri legislation stuff. But we have a special guest, and that's April Lejeune, and she is a gal who's running for county commission in Jackson County. Jackson County is one of the 2 counties that are suing the state of Missouri over SEPA legislation. So we look forward to talking to her and what her platform is and just letting people know she's out there. Why? Because she is censored off of Facebook and Twitter. If you guys have ever run or known someone that's run a campaign for a local position, for instance, county commissioner, mayor, what have you, those campaigns are generally run on social media, and they're generally run on Facebook and Twitter. Those are the 2 platforms that have the most people. And so she has been cut off from that. So basically, I figured I'd give her a voice and let her actually tell us what she's all about, what her campaign is all about, because she's one of the good guys trying to replace some of the bad guys. Now, I'm going to have a provocatively titled video for our live stream on Sunday night because she is going after corruption in Kansas City, and God bless her for that. So, or more specifically, Jackson County as a whole, not just Kansas City. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, Jackson County, Kansas City, kind of the same thing. So, all right, I'm going to wrap it up here so I can actually get this uploaded before I go to work. I want to say thank you to all of you who have been following us, looking at what we're doing here, even, the live streams is where we get a lot of good information. We have a lot of good people coming together. And I just want to say how much I appreciate the fact that you guys are taking an interest in what we're doing here. If you're not in the state of Missouri, please pay attention and work quickly to get SEPA legislation done in your state. You are running out of time to get SEPA with teeth in your state. If you get SEPA without teeth, you're wasting your time. Do something else then if there's no teeth, or if you can't get teeth in there, work on a different bill to provide more freedom to the people. That is my advice to you. I want to say God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much for watching. May God bless us all. May God bless the state of Missouri. You guys take care. See you, gang.